Oh, hang on a minute. Got it. There you go.
It's kind of like a look into the future.
I know. I was looking at the past, and you were looking at the future. How are you tonight, Statto?
I'm great. How are you?
Okay, rushing to get this all done. Yeah, well, we had our food delivered tonight, and they messed it up, so we ended up getting it redelivered late. So that's why everything was put back. It was because of my belly. That was it.
My goodness, I didn't think we'd ever get to this episode. I remember when you first scheduled it, I'm like, geez, that's a long way out.
I know.
Then all of a sudden it came up real fast.
I know. I'm looking at some of the episodes that are scheduled, and I'm saying to myself, I should maybe push them back a bit because they are coming up really quickly. It's amazing. I found myself having to watch 2 movies back to back this afternoon. So I watched both the films.
Late.
I know. I was trying to leave it as late as possible. I tried to watch one of them.
Nice and fresh.
Yeah, I tried to watch one of them a few weeks ago, but I was kind of tired. And I thought, no, I'll wait, get them in an afternoon showing, draw the blinds and get one after the other. It'll be an interesting sort of double bill.
Sure.
You know, and they're both 90 minutes, around about 90 minutes, not much more than that. You know me, I like movies to be. Exactly. I'm drinking a Mad Squirrel. I'm drinking tonight.
Wow, did you get that from the yard?
It's I think it's an English beer. It's nice.
Oh, okay. That's different. I thought we were actually talking about like some sort of a food sacrifice or something like that.
No, never before midnight.
Oh, okay, of course. How silly of me.
Of course. So I saw that you got a new delivery, a new book today on Twitter.
I got a couple. The last week I've been like, I ordered a bunch of trades sometime last week, I think, and they've just all kind of been coming at once. So I mean, like the Forever People, Elseworlds, Batman the Vampire Trilogy, Monsters from Barry Windsor Smith, the T-Bird and Throttle book finally came. I'm
still waiting for the Monsters to turn up. I think it's meant to be delivered on Monday, but sometimes they come a wee bit earlier, so hopefully.
Well, it was only 2 days ago it officially released, so
yeah.
I'm
looking forward to that. It's been a long time coming.
Hi, Pete.
So yeah. It's Pete. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. Although there's only one person here wearing the badge. Judge that. As you can see, I'll give you a. There you go. Yeah. I've thought about putting a helmet on my dog, but
but those dogs don't wear helmets.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, if you ever tried to put a helmet on an English Bull Terrier, it will kill you.
Just like a bread box. You could
pretty much
put that on there.
Good evening, Pete. Yes, we're all keeping well. For now. Yeah, just wait, just give it time.
It's been great doing the shows with you. I'm looking forward to greener pastures for you. When I get kicked out of here, I'll still watch as a fan. Don't worry.
Indeed, Zarjazz. This is interesting because you've read 2 runs now on epic runs of Judge Dredd after seeing the Stallone movie years ago. So it'll be interesting to get your take, especially now that you can kind of understand
movies here.
Yeah, you can kind of understand where a lot of people in the UK were coming from when they first saw it, having read all these. So it's going to be a bit of fun, I think. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough tonight. I'm going to I'll try and do that whenever I'm coughing. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, were you going to say something there, Stat?
No. I'm just ready to go. Ready to get into a fight.
Okay, right. Okay. First off, if just in case, because I've got a few new subscribers in the last hour or so. So if they are out there watching, if you're not jumping in the chat. They don't bite. Yeah, they're lively, but they don't bite. What's Pete saying? Could be a bloodbath. So this could be the bloodbath that he was expecting with Dave and the JCVD rankings.
He's hoping for violence.
I think so.
My goodness.
I think so.
My goodness.
Who can blame him? Yeah, the Jean-Claude Van Damme ranking show was a lot of fun.
That was great.
Yeah, but this could be more contentious, I think.
It might be. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be. But yeah, if anybody hasn't used the stream, if you're out there watching us on Facebook or that lone viewer on Twitch, I keep putting it out on Twitch because I know you're out there. I know you're watching. One of these days you'll say hello.
Private viewing.
I know, but just for you, but we keep going out onto Twitch. But yeah, Tales of Mystery and Imagination is on Indiegogo. And I've probably not put the links down below because I'm a bit silly that way. But it's dead easy to find. You just type in Tales of Mystery and Imagination and it comes up. You can find it and you find the link in practically any other one of my videos, but I've got a funny feeling it might not be under this one. If you like Edgar Allan Poe, if you like horror, give it a wee look. That's a campaign that I'm going to be running in July. And I'm currently running Ales of Dark Weebles and Bampots just now. It's going to be up in July, so I'll be fulfilling this while starting the other campaign. And we're getting so close, Statto. Look at that. Just, as soon as we get to 4, he scrolls down. I'm going to have to bring this right up to the top, change the layout here so we can just see at the top. People's eyes will be bleeding.
Tired of it.
As I go, once we get to 4, everyone gets a print of Statto's Ales of Dark retro print. So yeah, so that's the 2 campaigns. That's the obligatory shilling of the campaigns I'm working on. Just that's it. But I did want to show you something else, guys, because I've got a webpage up. It's dead easy to find because it's Terrier Comics and it's a .com, terriercomics.com. And right now it's got the links to both of those campaigns. So that's actually that's the easy way to get there if you visit my website. If you do that, there's a nice wee kind of portfolio down here. You can see some of the images and you can subscribe and join Team Dark. Yes, subscribe and join Team Dark and you'll get a newsletter with lots of cool stuff. Probably I'll start sending them out in about a month or so, I think. And what you've got here is you've got just lots of basic information on the 2 characters that I work on. A wee bit about this handsome chap here. That's the contact form. Put that in, submit to that as well. You can do that.
Beautiful.
There's a blog that I don't update, but I'm going to start updating that, so that'll be cool. Everything in the one place.
It's a key feature. It's a blog I don't update.
Exactly, a blog I don't update. And there's a shop, or there will be early next year. There'll be a shop in here as well, and you get links to all my social media from here. So please have a wee think about subscribing or getting this, saving the URL when you're kind of like your what they called, those tabs you save it into.
Bookmark.
That's it. Bookmarks. Thank you. Luckily, one of us isn't drinking. And everything's going to be in this. This is going to become a hub for everything I'm doing. This is a one-stop for everything. So you can find my YouTube, my Twitter, and everything from here. So please have a wee think about doing that. And that's that. There you go. Going to remove that.
I like it.
And say hi to Not My Monkey, Not My Circus.
Whoa.
What are you drinking tonight, Monkey? I'm on Mad Squirrel. Oh, that's good stuff, that. Right, we're going to do this, aren't we? We're going to do this, so let's do it. Stop. Screen. Share screen. Yeah. Anybody who's new to watching, I do tend to just say out loud what I'm thinking.
Very true.
I do. I know. Shocking. Judge Dredd versus Dredd. Okay. Right. Now, where do we start? I know where we'll start. I'll always ask you what I always ask you. Before I do, it's red wine again for Not My Monkey. That's good. You're being consistent these days. Michael McCartney is jumping the gun.
Yep.
Jumping the gun. Jumping the lawgiver.
Okay. Red wins. That's what he says.
Exactly. So, when did you first see one of these? I'm going to say one of these movies because I know the way you work. Sometimes you'll see like the most recent movie.
No, this one I actually saw the Stallone one. Like I should have back when it came out.
Wow. So you saw it on the big screen?
No. I mean it was VHS.
VHS.
So, younger. So So, but yeah, that was, I think that's probably one of the earlier Stallone movies I saw, though. Come to think of it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I saw it in the cinema when it was first released. I think the same year that I saw Batman Forever in the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very odd year for comic fans, I have to say. Yeah, okay. Let's start by talking about the Stallone Dredd.
Okay.
We'll start there. We'll do it chronologically. So, yeah, the Stallone Dredd. I've got like a nice triptych of characters that are in, images from the movie there with Judge Dredd, Judge Hershey, played by Diane Lane, and Judge Stallone on the right with his very tight clothes that he wears for most of the movie.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this, man? Tell me your thoughts on the storyline of this. Just coming to it as a movie and watching it, because you had no idea about the comic.
No. I mean, for a movie, it's pretty standard Stallone 95. You know, like he's putting out some of his. I think this was just before his second big comeback, because he had like three lulls in his career.
Yeah,
you know, there's like after Rambo, like 2 or 3. He didn't have a lot in the way of hits. That was around the time he did like Oscar. That was around the time he did and then he did like this. He did Demolition Man.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. Yeah, he did those movies. He was, trying different stuff, being experimental, and then he'd come back to action. He does. This one didn't do very well at all, but Demolition Man did really well. And he was on an uptick until like I think the mid 2000s. Then, when he had a little bit of a lull before like the Expendables and.
But you mentioned Demolition Man there, because you mentioned this before to me. It's kind of like a Judge Dredd light Demolition Man, isn't it?
They could almost. I mean, it could almost be like he went into hibernation again and came out during Mega City 1.
Yeah, I've got some people in the chat.
I'm not talking down Oscar. I love Oscar, Dave. I'm just saying that was during a time when his movies weren't making any money.
Yeah, we've got Bristolian Dave in the chat. Come in and you're talking down Oscar. Yeah, babbers. And evening to Pete Paul Circus, who's joined us. I think Pete. Yeah, he's asking if this was before or after Cliffhanger. This was after Cliffhanger, wasn't it? Yeah, because Cliffhanger was again one of an upturns for him. That people were like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good movie. And then this came along.
Yeah, I think part of the problem with this is, I mean, it just wasn't really understood. It was a little bit of a different thing for Stallone. Any fans, which I gotta wonder how many there actually were in the U.S. in '95, probably would have said, like most UK people, "What the heck is this? Why are they changed so many things?" And anybody that didn't, it's just kind of a standard sci-fi movie. You had no reason to question any of it. Okay, that's an ABC Warrior. All right, that's sort of thing. Looking back, I mean, watching it after reading the comics, I will say I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen that one. It wasn't particularly good. The Series of Unfortunate Events, the one with Jim Carrey. They crammed like 3 books into the movie, and it felt rushed. It felt like they were just trying to put as much as they could in. And that felt a lot like this. It was like everything in the kitchen sink.
Yeah. But now that you've read The Cursed Earth and the Day the Law Died, you can see that this has pretty much done the same thing. It's taken elements from all these different Dredd stories and it's squished them all together, plus other stories as well. Stuff for the Judge Child as well. And it's squished them all together.
Yeah. But I will say, unlike the other one, this plays more like a greatest hits, and watching this versus the other one, this was a very familiar movie to me. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, that looks like Mega City 1 as it was in the comics with the Eagle buildings and, like the punks running around and the almost future Gothic kind of architecture. This one nailed that. For my eye. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a side by side. two images, sort of like Mega City 1 and the outside Mega City 1 into the cursed earth. And on the right, you've got the Carl Urban one, which is, to me, it's like the Dredd one is the proper kind of like big sci-fi Mega City 1 from the comic, whereas the recent version is more...
It's like, what if it were real? Like,
what if it was real, and what if it's almost like the start of like the building of that Mega City one. You know,
it's like given the information we have now, what might it look like?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Probably very true, but it's just not comic booky.
No, well, I'm going to agree with you this here. I love the big sci-fi Mega City 1 in the original. Watching it again, though, it's not used particularly well. A lot of stuff is done at ground level, and it looks kind of like the Mars base in Total Recall. You know, at ground level, that's what it looks like.
That and was the other one. It's almost like a throwaway Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Discount Blade Runner.
Well, this film has a number of things that are kind of Blade Runner-ish, and they kind of fail. You know, it tries to be a little bit deep about, you know, who are you kind of thing. You know,
I feel like there was some of that in the pre-development process with the director. You know, probably being a Ridley Scott guy.
Yeah, it could very well be. I've got a problem with the story in this. I'm going to take us back to this one here. Before I tell you what the problem is, I'm going to say hello to... Here's a take for you. Hello to Jazz Crab. You are a Dredd comics fan. Stallone was better, but both are shit. So there's a take.
I admire the honesty.
There's a take, and I can understand exactly that take. I really can.
I think it's a lot like Punisher. There hasn't really been a perfect Punisher movie or show yet. They've all come gotten aspects right. They've all come close in certain respects, but not one of them are Punisher. Then you watch some random revenge movie and you go, "What? Put a skull on his chest." This is a Punisher movie.
Pretty much. I mean, there's a look at Dredd in this when he's got his help. The first 15 minutes or so with Dredd, you're like, oh, they're doing a pretty good job here at introducing the character, introducing the world.
Yeah, that first team was great.
Yeah, they do it through the character Fergie, Rob Schneider's eyes, and he's not too annoying in those first 15 minutes.
Right.
But then he takes his helmet off and everything kind of changes. And what really struck me watching it today was he didn't need to take his helmet off.
The judge told him to take it off in the beginning when he was.
He said, "Well, he says at ease," kind of thing. He didn't need to take the helmet off because you can actually see his eyes through it. You can see his whole face with the close-ups. So all they had to do was have him stripped of his helmet before he get put into the cursed earth. Then it would have been truer to the idea, you know, of the comic. You know, he's stripping him of all the accoutrements of being a judge, but before he's taken away. Rather than have him take it off because it moves at such a pace.
Why would they let him keep his helmet if they're taking everything off?
Yeah, but
I mean that's a battle armor.
but the whole point would be that you keep that stuff on until they take it off him. So they could have taken it off before. They could have taken it off for the trial.
Yeah,
you know that.
Well,
kind
that's
of
where
thing.
Stallone would have come in, probably saying like, "Well, people want to see my face." I'm guessing.
Yeah, but it makes you think that maybe there was more to this movie at the original stage because all that happens in about the first 25 minutes, and then he's thrown into the cursed earth. And this is my biggest problem. It's kind of what you said there about that it takes lots of elements, like a greatest hits, a best of. But when they get to the cursed earth, you meet the Angel family, the Moon Machine, and that's a movie in its own. They could make an entire movie in the cursed earth with that family in Dredd, and I would be. Yeah, I would watch that almost like a Western set there. And I'm going to have to big you up for everybody. There he goes, me and Statto. Dial him up to 4, and then I think I'm going to let him win. The Battle of the Dredds. And they were well cast as well. The Angel family.
Mean Machine looked great. The ABC Warrior looked amazing.
Yeah, Peeps mentioned that in the chat. The ABC Warrior looked fantastic, and it was all kind of like old school effects. I'm trying to go back in the chat.
Every bit of sci-fi fantasy world this movie was.
Yeah.
The clones. They woke up.
The clones, all that kind of stuff. There's tons in here that I liked. Yeah, but so I mean, there you go. There's the ABC Warrior is just terrific.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's Amanda Santi who starts acting at 11 and then ramps it up from there as the film progresses.
Right. He gets crazier and crazier.
He's like I suppose the same year we did Batman Forever, he was doing what Jim Carrey did in that movie. He was starting over the top and then seeing how far he could go with that.
Well, I think the other thing I love about this movie is, I mean, how many like lines can you quote from this movie? Just fun one-off lines or something like that, character lines or something. That second one didn't really have much of that.
Yeah, well, we'll go on to the. Yep, here we go. Peeps is helping out here because I couldn't get back in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So it was Chris Cunningham who did the ABC Warrior. Mm-hmm. If I'm not right, I think I'm right with that. With Peeps bringing that up.
Beautiful animatronic.
It's amazing, and it's wasted.
Yeah, I know he gets like 2 minutes screen time
because Rob Schneider beats it. He defeats the spoiler, guys. He defeats an ABC Warrior in such a way that you kind of wish. I don't know. You kind of wish Mean Machine had just killed him. Yeah,
he would have been better in that Judge Hershey spot, and then just got his neck snapped, and then Judge went no.
Yeah, Judge Hershey. That's another wasted character. Diane Lane's good, but she's really given an ineffectually written character. Nothing to do in the movie until.
Well, it's I mean, like the stuff moves. That is one of my complaints about this movie. Is things move so fast. And there are so many people, Max von Sydow and Jürgen Prochnow, and all these guys have to have time that nobody really gets. I mean, even when you think about it with Stallone, he doesn't have as much to do as the movie looks like he does.
Yeah,
because they're moving so dang fast. This movie is stuffed.
The biggest sin it makes is it's the sin of the 80s movies and. Max von Sydow made a lot of these movies in the 80s, like big budget movies. The greatest sin against him was Conan the Barbarian, which only has one scene that he's in. It's completely wasted. And then this is his best turn is Ming and Flash Gordon because they give him loads to do. But in this again, they have one of the world's greatest actors, and they give him nothing to do.
Well, they gave him. The whole story pretty much hinged on him.
Yeah, and then when it looks as if he's going to get involved in the action, they get rid of him.
Well, so I mean, I will say I do like this movie more than the 2012 version. It's a heck of a ride, but the only thing is it doesn't really have an attention span.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
whoa, what's that? What's this? Whoa, what's that?
I mean, this chase through the city. You see the images here, and just imagine CG and Rob Schneider out of it completely, and then you'd have quite an exciting special effects chase,
Yeah.
As it stands,
he's the audience cipher.
He's so annoying. I mean,
that's the thing, though. I mean, nowadays you've got usually kind of a blank slate type person for the audience to find stuff out with. They're fairly stoic. Think like 1917 or something like that. But back in the day. In the 90s, you remember, think about all the characters that were the audience stand-in. Look at Last Action Hero.
Yeah.
The kid that's oh, wow.
Yeah, but they always did that. They always said, and I can understand to a point their way of thinking because the people writing these movies are not fans of the source material. So they have to find their way around it. But the problem is you should connect with somebody in the movie that allows them to lead you into the world.
Well, yeah,
and that somebody should have been Hershey. Hershey should have been that somebody.
But that's just a failure, basically, which was what they kind of did in the 2012 version with Anderson.
Totally got that. They got that totally right in the 2012 version. Mm-hmm. But this the layer that I've turned on here in Photoshop is called Max Wasted because again, Max von Sydow, look how sad he is. That's not because he's taking the long walk into the custard. That's because he knows he's been wasted again in a big budget movie. I bet the
script went through so many evolutions before it hit screen, though. Even probably during, was it Mario, the Mario Brothers movie? They're rewriting stuff on the day.
Yeah,
relearning
pages. This is quite similar in feel.
It does have a similar look to it. Yeah, absolutely, and I'm sure it had similar problems.
Yeah,
but I mean, the biggest being maybe that nobody understood Dredd except for say the writer and the director.
I don't think the writers understood Dredd at all. So
well, I wasn't 100% sure if the director had some hand in writing and stuff like that.
No, this is. I think he might have, but he's not talked much about this. Stallone slagged the director off when it was a flop and said he should have taken more control of it. And I think the only thing the director said was that it should have he's not going to work with a big A-list director ever again.
Well, I think
a big A-list actor ever again.
Yeah. I think Stallone was trying to make this for an American audience.
Yeah,
because he'd never heard of Dredd. He didn't. I don't think he quite got it. Again, like I said, if he'd had another crack today, he probably would have more respect for it. But
yeah,
with everything he's learned. But at the time, he was Sylvester Stallone. He was still,
when he's got the helmet on and he's actually being Dredd, he looks great. He's terrific in the part, perfect in the part. Even with the Versace suit with the codpiece. It's a strange decision, but nevertheless, a kind of comic.
You're just really used to all the armored look.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a comic book look, I suppose.
I think they're trying to straight translate it from the comic, like they did back in the day.
Yeah, and I quite like that. I thought the costume looked fine. I like the big ego and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, the main problem with this movie is it doesn't understand Dredd. The writers have that problem, and the writers. One of them, Stephen E. D'Souza, he was like the big go-to guy because he was involved in all the action movies at the time.
It does on the surface level, but I mean, not understanding that you can't take the helmet off because he's pretty much every man in the law.
Yeah.
Faceless law kind of thing. Like that. That's where the entire point of the character gets lost.
Yeah, I think, okay, Stephen D'Souza, or Stephen E. D'Souza, was the writer-director of Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh!
Right? And I think some of what he did in that movie is evident in this one. It's like the funny line just for the sake of the funny line, whereas they're not always funny. And even Rob Snyder's... you could replace him with Bob Hoskins and it would improve the film immensely. Just a little everyman type character. But you never feel that he is like an everyman type character.
Why he just liked working with him on Demolition Man.
Yeah, I think so.
That was the whole thing. He wanted to give him a job.
What Max von Sydow movies do you recommend that he hasn't
Strange Brew.
Strange Brew, yes. Strange Brew. The Exorcist. And
you say Seventh Seal?
The 3 days. Oh yeah, I was going to say that. The Seventh Seal, 3 Days of the Condor, and the Virgin Spring. They're ones to check out for Max von Sydow, but he's not wasted. There's loads of the Bergman movies that he made, but he's not wasted. But for the American ones, The Exorcist, Strange Brew was Canadian, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and 3 Days of the Condor, where he's brilliant in that.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah, I'd Flash Gordon, of course. Yeah, that's thanks for that, Pete. That kind of goes without saying. Savior of the universe. Right, okay. So I think we kind of know where we're going with this because maybe the chat can guess which one I like better. But so I'm going to just bring the posters up again. When I saw the Dredd images of Carl Urban with the helmet and the suit and everything, I was kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it looks like the Daredevil poster. It looks like the,
Yeah, but it looks better in the poster than it does with the first production shots that they showed you with the helmet. Looked about 3 times bigger than his head.
It is bigger. It looks like a biker helmet, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. But within the context of the movie and the way the movie's shot, it works fine.
Sure.
I didn't mind it at all. I saw what they were doing. They were going for a completely stripped down aesthetic to go with the budget of the film, lower budget.
Right.
You make sure the aesthetic fits that, and you work to, you make that work to the movie's strengths. And the movie's strengths are that it strips everything bare, and it's like a 1 episode story from a Judge Dredd, a 2000 AD. And they've just let it large, so they've extended it a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that works a lot better than trying to carve your way through one of the epics or 2 of the epics or even 3 of the epics. The way that the original version that Stallone did attempted to do. In fact, now that you've read the Day the Lord Died, and I'm still using the same PSD here, that's why it's called The Day the Lord Died. What were your thoughts on Fergie in the comic as opposed to Rob Schneider's Fergie in the movie.
I think I would have forgiven. I mean, the movie would have been a little bit closer had Schneider performed the same. Obviously, they couldn't do that because the audience they figured the audience would have gotten angry if the hilarious character got killed. But had he sacrificed himself and maybe took Rico off the edge of that statue or something like that,
Yep.
I mean, he did get shot technically, but if he would have, who knows? Maybe they did kill him, and the test audiences hated it. That
maybe
could very well be too. But
maybe, yeah.
Because I'm sure there was some problems with it, the production side.
Yeah, I just think it was another case of they've got the comic stuff in front of them, but they've not read them, and they're like, there's a character called Fergie, we'll take the name. That's it.
Well, I also know that when they were promoting it, and Stallone was like looking through the comics or whatever as he was talking, he was looking through the DC license stuff.
All right.
Right, so that's going to be a bit different in its own right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's what he was given when he was doing his research.
Yeah.
Because those were like, get me the current comics, the most up to date right now. There you go. Oh, okay, well,
that's the wrong stuff. I know that's the wrong stuff.
Right. So if he's going off the wrong research too, if Pete's talking about the ones in the newer movie, I can agree. They look like garbage cans he was riding.
Yeah. Again, they don't mind me because they fit in with the aesthetic of the movie. I thought. Here's the thing. I watched it for the first time in 2D today. I've watched it a couple of times. I've only ever watched it in 3D. And I think they work fine in 3D because they're thin enough that they give a good kind of like perception of depth. So they create planes, their own plane when they're on screen in 3D.
Right.
Like, granted, when you watch it in 2D, they're a bit underwhelming.
Yeah.
But the thing that I noted watching them back to back is that opening chase is far more exciting than the big budget flying around Mega City 1 chase in Judge Dredd. Because there's not an idiot in the back of his bike, screaming all the way.
That's closer to like RoboCop or those 70s car chases where they did it for real.
Yeah, but again, that's it. This has more of a feel and aesthetic of a 70s movie or an early 80s movie.
With the color palette to match.
And I think that really, really helps it. It's a sort of thing that makes you, it makes you understand why they've made the choices they've made for Mega City 1 once you get a feel for that aesthetic.
They didn't have any money.
Didn't have any money. Yeah.
Right. Well, what? The thing that bugged me about a little bit about this, in comparison to the other one, was like, Judge Dredd, you hadn't seen too much like that in 95? With this movie, The Raid came out a year earlier. Very similar in look and story. Getting trapped in a building by some bad guys. Having to fight your way through it. This is pretty much like a DLC skin for The Raid. I'm sure they were in production kind of similar times because, then again, might have just been on the tail.
Look like Street Hawk. Yeah, they did. I like Street Hawk.
And I do like how they explained the slow motion that every film around that time had to have with the drug.
Yeah,
because that was a hard thing to watch around the early 2010s. Is just everything had to have about 15 to 20 minutes of slow motion, mostly for no reason in the movie. And at least this solved that a little bit.
Yeah, Jazz Crab makes a good point here. He's talking about Brendan McCarthy. They could have get Brendan McCarthy in to design everything because he was, a great Dredd artist. And you introduced to his work in The Cursed Earth, and you see how it progresses quite quickly through the stories that he did. Because he designed, as Jazz Crab's bringing up, he designed Fury Road. And I think that it would be great if he was given the chance to make a Dredd movie. That would be the definitive Dredd movie, I think.
Well, I think if this movie were made in like, say, 2002, it would have carried off a lot better because, after the Saws and the Hostels, those kind of violent movies, the ultra violence in this just doesn't quite. It's fairly tame.
Yeah, I think. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to say if you're new here, please subscribe if you can, and see the wee kind of like thumbs up thing. Give that a good smash as well. So this is me doing my professional YouTube, but hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more amazing shows like this. So you can join in the chat. Yay! See that? What professional? Right? Okay, I always forget to do that. I know. And now back to the show. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Getting a really chance of the horror channel this week.
Really the Galactica 1980. Yeah, I forgot the NAF bikes on that. That was an awful show, Pete. You're a masochist, man. Yeah. more power to you. That's the kind of thing I would do as well. Coming at them back to back, talking about the slow-mo, I think what this film does really well with the slow-mo is it's really well integrated into the plot, as you say, with the drug, but it doesn't feel that the scene is just done because we need to kind of create a 3D sequence. And even if it was just done because you need to create a 3D sequence, they're all very well designed. You're seeing things you don't normally see in 3D. You know, it's very gruesome when you see flesh rippling and all kinds of stuff happening. I watched it in 2D today, and it still worked for me. It didn't feel slow or anything like that. But I would go back to the 3D version next time I watch it.
Right.
Because it's got that, dare I say it, extra dimension. There you go. Lost a few viewers with that one.
You know, my problem with this movie is it's really bland. But, in terms of nobody's got any personality at all. Look at those four judges up top there. You can't tell the difference between them if one of them wasn't a lady and one of them wasn't a black guy. There's just no...
Yeah, there's tall black guy, there's the thin guy, there's women, and there's the other thin guy at the back. Yeah,
right. Yeah, it's like thug number 3 in the credits.
Yeah, you only need to kind of connect with a couple of these characters anyway, because they've not got that much in it. I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you. As far as Anderson's concerned.
Oh, I liked her.
As far as Anderson and Dredd are concerned, I think they're both totally on point and pitch perfect for the whole movie. So this is like the origin story of her. In a way, she's not the fully formed Judge Anderson yet.
Right.
And even Dredd is not. It's not like Stallone's Dredd, where he walks into the street and everybody knows him and they're all terrified because it's Dredd. So it's got that.
It's supposed to be part of a trilogy.
Yeah, so it's got that going with it, and you can imagine how they're setting it up for sequels, but it doesn't look like they're setting it up for sequels. It stands alone as a movie, so the fact there's been no sequels is unfortunate. But at the same time, it wouldn't matter. Just coming to this is a good standalone movie.
I gotta wonder what Judge Dredd would look, or Judge Death would look like in this universe, because they were building towards him.
Yeah, I can only imagine that they were going to use physical effects and and makeup effects and bring him in, Freddy Krueger style. I would hope. And perhaps use CG to take parts of his body away and strip parts of it away. I think they could have done a really good Judge Death in this world.
I saw a clip not too long ago. I think somebody shared it on Twitter, talking about it was Alfred Hitchcock. He was talking about suspense. What you have to do is tell them that there's a bomb in the building, and then have the people talking as if there's nothing wrong. And the audience will work into such a frenzy. And then you must never allow the bomb to go off, because it'll make the audience angry. You have them touch the bomb with their foot, say, "Oh my God, there's a bomb in here." Throw it out the window. And then it explodes out there. And this movie would let the bomb go off.
It would. Yeah, it would. It's not that kind of a film.
What he's saying is there should be like a release or a pressure valve cut off, so the audience can get some break from the tension. This movie does not have that built in. There's no humor. There's nothing to separate the movie up. If it were a game, it would be the exact same level all the way through.
I think there is. I think there's humor in Dredd in this, but it's
subtle.
It's subtle, but I think it's there. But it's more like if you think back to action films in the 70s, where you had Clint Eastwood and Charles Bronson, and they weren't really thought of as like big action films.
Sure.
When they had jokes or one-liners, they tended to fit into the action of that moment. Okay. Then you had James Bond, where you'd have the quips, and that was slightly different because they were out with that.
Yeah.
But the quips took over the action films, so the one-liners became constant quips.
Right.
And the Stallone Dredd is a bit like that. There's loads and loads of constant quips to the point where you want to kind of just take the characters and bang their heads together.
That's the Stallone style action flick where it's like stick around as he throws a knife at a dude.
Yeah, so Stallone and Schwarzenegger do that kind of stuff, and I much prefer it where it's like maybe there's just one or two lines in there that bring a wry smile to your face. You know, that's kind of like that's how I like my action movies to be. Less Street Fighter with Van Damme and more Street Fighter with Charles Bronson. You know, that kind of thing.
I don't know. I just felt like there wasn't enough to break it up. At least, you know what I mean? Like, there's humor there. It's true, but I mean, I just don't know. Maybe not for me. I don't know. It was just. Oh, it wasn't Jimmy Stewart.
That's funny.
A terrible Alfred Hitchcock. But yeah, I think this is a better made movie than the other one. I just think the other one's a bit more of a ride, like a roller coaster.
Yep. I think that the technicians, the craftsmen, everybody involved in the Dredd movie that Stallone made did a great job, and they were just let down by the execution of the movie at the end of the day.
Sure. That's fair.
Yeah, that's
yeah. I remember that scene. That was coming to my head as I was thinking, like, yeah, there's humor in there, but it's nothing. I don't think that would like. I don't know. I don't feel it was attention relief. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. But that's. I think that's kind of it, isn't it?
Which is kind of what you need so you can have the next surprise mean something more. Otherwise, you're clenched the whole time.
It's funny though you say that because I was thinking that. It's a little. Oh. Well, you got the critics are in tonight, Statto.
Perfect. I can use it.
Yeah. I think if you approach this and also look at it as a slasher movie or a splatter movie at the same time, because it is. It's incredibly gory and over the top, and the revel in it. So, for instance, you take the same scene that's in both movies where you've got the bad guy with the lawgiver, the gun in his hand, and he fires it. So in the Dredd movie, he gets electrocuted.
Right.
Yeah. And in the Stallone movie, he gets electrocuted. And in the Orban movie, his arm blows up.
Yeah, I like that.
Right. So it's kind of like it's a different approach to everything. Whereas I can find humor in that scene, and that's a different kind of release with that kind of stuff. It's a kind of release that I get watching horror movies.
I suppose.
Yeah. So I think it's just that approach. But I understand what you're saying when you say it doesn't have that, because not everybody seeing somebody's arm explodes has a little chuckle. You know,
well, they do it sometimes in the horror movies where you'll have somebody around the corner and oh my gosh, it's somebody that they know, and then you've got that situation where it's like, oh geez, you scared me, you friggin' it, and then all of a sudden somebody gets a hook through the face, and then you go, wow.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of? I've only got the one image down there of her. What do you think of Little Miss Game of Thrones as a villain?
She did fine for what she had to do. I mean, she just kind of was there going, kill them all, kill every one of them. Hey, don't do that. Yeah,
I think so. I wanted to. Yeah, I think you're right there, Pete. Sick in the head.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have a lot. I mean, she does play like those kind of harder, tough lady characters a lot.
Yeah, I think
she didn't hardly speak. She didn't hardly. I guess the nice thing was her moves were all deliberate, everything that she did. But for the most part, I think her character was built in, just the hints that they gave you.
Yeah,
not so much. So I mean, she didn't have to do anything. They built a reputation for her, and then when you see her, you go, oh, you know.
Yeah, I think she's okay, but I think she's the one weak spot insofar as she's not much of a villain. Okay,
right.
I think that's the thing. Again, to look at the Stallone, when they go overboard, they do too much of it. But
right, definitely. Those are the mustache twirlers.
Yeah, but they are comics accurate to some degree. So I think
maybe
it's slightly more
straight translation.
Yeah, slightly more flamboyant, kind of like villain. I would have liked.
Yeah.
Even though they don't do any of these characters they do them all a disservice in the Stallone movie because they don't give them any time to breathe. They don't give them a reason.
Just like I said, was like
to be there.
Punisher. And Punisher and Dredd are very similar in character, so I think that's usually they're not characters that get happy endings. In Hollywood, you know, that's kind of a death sentence because they think the audience needs that, or at least at that time. Not so much now. Nowadays, you can get away with a kind of a downer ending because the audience has had enough of them and gotten used to them over the years.
Yeah.
But at this time, it was a little more optimistic in terms of heroes and villains in comic book movies, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with both Pete here, who says that Headley was just fine in the role, but they could have given him more to do. But even as it was, she was better written than any of the Stallone characters. And then Peter Gilmore says she was just kind of meh, you know, and there was way better or more bombastic villains they could have used. There's a whole rogues gallery they could have used.
That's the other thing. Like usually with the Stallone, or I mean the Dredd books I've been reading, you know, Dredd was a jerk, but they always got somebody that was a bigger jerk. And they didn't really do that. You know, Rico kind of arguably was. But
yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, like, the rest of them were just common criminals.
Yep, I hear what you're saying there. I think, for the Stallone film, let's talk about Dredd. Let's talk about...
Okay.
Let's not... I mean, I think we know who...
I do think Pete's right. If you slammed them together and took a few elements out of each, you've got a really good Dredd movie, but they just kind of they half measured it both times.
I think
one maybe by budget, the other one by production and star. That was
I think they're both perfect for the role. I think Stallone, who nobody really thought he was going to be perfect for the role, because I think everybody in the UK that read it as a kid saw Clint Eastwood as Judge Dredd.
Sure.
You know, with the job. It was obviously Carlos Escobedo based him on Clint Eastwood.
Yep.
In fact, most of his main leading characters look like Clint Eastwood, just with different helmets and hairs. So, but he was perfect until we decided to play a Stallone character and do things like smile and
and I definitely think that was audience, you know, like test groups, focus group stuff.
Yeah, and allowed Judge Hersey to kiss him at the end. It was kind of came out of nowhere.
Oh yeah,
and you know. Dredd would have reported her for that. You know,
6 months.
And if he did that at the end, people would have come at me going, "Well, at least he got that right."
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I think the Urban Dredd is spot on, pitch perfect all the way through the movie. He doesn't drop the ball once, and he's perfect as Dredd.
Right. Oh yeah, I agree. The other one, the original Judge Dredd, it was a Stallone vehicle. Stallone was playing when he's not playing Rocky and he's not playing Rambo. He's mostly just Stallone.
Yeah.
Like Schwarzenegger, same thing. He doesn't. I don't even know if Schwarzenegger really has any characters that aren't just Schwarzenegger.
I don't think he does.
No.
He does.
Got a couple.
He does. He has Conan in the first Conan movie. Is not just Schwarzenegger.
Okay, well, the second one he kind of was more.
The second one he was, but in the first Conan movie, John Milius pretty much said to John Milius, "Just direct me like you know as an animal."
Maybe the first Terminator too, but past that, after that, it was all over.
Yeah, so there he was actually being directed as the character. He was taking direction. He was trying to build the character. Everything else after then, it was just.
So I mean, I get that it was just a Stallone vehicle with, you know, like running this. And which is unfortunate because if he'd just been a little bit more humble at the time, it could have really knocked this newer one to shame. But that's unfortunately product of the time.
The
other one was 2012.
I hear you.
Hey,
yeah. Hello to stencil artist Jan. It's just a late dinner. Must late in for work.
I haven't gotten stabbed yet.
Not yet. Okay, so we're near the end of the show because I think everybody knows that you're a champion for the Stallone Dredd as a movie over the urban one. I would say that's right.
I think it's a lot more fun to watch. It's not accurate so much Dredd-wise to the comics after I've read them and stuff like that, which I had my eyebrows raised a few times going, wow, that's different. But it's still a fun ride, I think. It just is a fan of 90s action movies when they actually got to blow stuff up for real.
Yep. God, when I saw it in the cinema, I actually came away from the cinema saying, well, at least it was a good big budget Stallone movie.
It's a fun ride.
But having watched it this afternoon, it really annoyed me. Lots of stuff really annoyed me.
Well, they're not proud of it either. It's a bargain bin movie through and through. They didn't even change the cover for the Blu-ray release.
No, I got a nice Spanish Blu-ray, which has got a lovely cover.
We got the same cover for the DVD as the Blu-ray and no special features.
That's the one where he doesn't have the helmet and he's holding his gun out.
Yep, worst possible cover.
I got the cover that's it's on the poster here. He's got the full helmet and stuff. So it's got a proper Judge Dredd look to it.
He looks great when he's in the helmet.
Yeah, but yeah, I can honestly say that Dredd has problems. There's things I don't like about Dredd.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, like you, I was a little bit. There was a problem with the kind of like the real world feel to it, and it took me a few minutes to get into it. But as soon as I got to the block, and essentially it's like there's another movie that came out before it called The Raid. Mm-hmm. Which is like a martial arts kind of movie, all set in the one place. And it's amazing. It's an amazing action movie. I'd say it's probably better than Dredd, but I think once they get there and they start working their way up the floors of the building with the action and the gore and the 3D and everything that's in it, and even watching it in 2D, I think Dredd. You learn something new every time you watch it about the way they put this movie together. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you watch the Stallone one over and over, you see something that's not working that you maybe missed the last time. So, it's almost like at the start you were looking at, to the future, and I was looking to the past when we first came up on screen.
Right.
It's kind of like this. One of them, you start seeing how it builds, and I can see how this is world building, and the other one, you see how they're just actually chipping away at it. And it's not working.
I got to judge it in the time it was made, and they didn't get any of those comic book movies right. So I mean, because like you say, contempt for the source material. It was so much worse back then than it is now.
Exactly, because it's like if you're new to the channel, I always say that Hollywood has complete contempt for comic book source material. Not just comic book source material, any source material that's not created as an original movie they have contempt for, because they always think they can do it better. And that goes for even the good superhero movies and comic book movies that you see. I think they always start from a place of contempt.
Yeah.
One or two exceptions. I don't think Sam Raimi felt that way about Spider-Man, and I don't think Richard Donner felt that way about Superman. But a lot of people involved in the productions, I would say, probably did.
Well, I will say it for the Stallone one. I walked away from not feeling like I needed to walk, directly out to the street in front of a bus. Man, that Dredd movie was a downer.
Yeah.
At least for me. I was just like, wow. So
I'm going to say hello to PJ Drift, who's joined us.
He also brought up a point about,
Yeah, there's a point. Neither have Walter the Wobot. I know.
He hadn't gotten him yet.
Yeah, I mean, a brilliant Dredd to start with, if you're going to do a big budget Dredd, would be the Robot Wars, which is in the first volume, which I don't think you've read that yet. And that's the first kind of epic story. And that would make for a really good visual kind of big budget movie. The idea of the robots kind of like rebelling against us, an uprising.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't give him superpowers because, like the executives in Hollywood are like, it's a comic book movie. What is powers? He doesn't have any. Well, it's not much of a comic book movie then.
Yeah, and in the comic, when he removes his head, he's either got bandages on or, like PJ's saying here, the first time that they do it, it was like censored by Tharg so that we wouldn't be able to see
trick on an episode of The Incredible Hulk when Jack McGee finally caught up with Bruce Banner, and Bruce Banner's face was all in bandages.
Yeah.
And then he made him mad, and he snarled and turned into the Hulk, and McGee was like, "Oh my gosh, this is how it's happened." I've been with him the whole time.
Yep, I know. I want to watch that episode now.
I know, right?
That's so good. Right, okay. We could both agree on this that the Incredible Hulk with Bill Bixby was incredible. I think it was. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right, so we're going to do this now. I'm going to say that for the Battle of the Dredds, I'm going to say Urban wins.
Are we talking the movie or the actors?
We're talking about the movie, the whole thing, the whole package. So what are you saying?
You know what? I can't say that either of them really win. It's like Batman. You watch that movie and you go, but that's not Batman. Both of these movies, after reading the comics, I'm going, but those aren't Dredds.
Right. Okay. Well, we need to do Batman sometime soon because I like them.
I swear that there's lots of Dredd clones. Like that first movie's continuity, they made a bunch of Dredd clones. They're all over this giant city in their small little spaces, each one Dredd. And that's why everyone thinks his legend's so big, because he's everywhere.
Yep.
And those are just two clones that you met up with. That's my headcanon.
Right. So it's in the chat. I'm getting I'm getting a major sense in the chat that they don't like the Stallone movie that much.
No, I came in knowing that.
Is there anybody in the chat who would champion the Stallone movie? If there is, let us know. There's more people watching us in the chat. Don't be scared; they wouldn't bite you if you're a Stallone fan. And
not even the crickets are saying anything because they don't want to speak up.
No, but I think if we're calling this a battle with the Dredds, and that's what I called it, I would say that
Full disclosure, though, I like Stallone movies like Dave likes Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, so I feel like I'm
yes, here you go. See, I too like Stallone movies, with the exception of maybe a few. But something like Cliffhanger, I could sit and watch and thoroughly enjoy the cheesiness of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the cheesiness of Judge Dredd really annoyed me today.
I'll say that the newer one was definitely more consistent, and it had more of a attention span than the original one. So it was an actual story, not just the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
Being fair. Although I would probably watch the Stallone one again just because fun action movie with lines.
According to Michael, Judge Dredd wins the aesthetics, but Dredd wins for being faithful to the source material.
Dredd's going to win. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Pete, Urban wins, but the aesthetics of a Stallone movie win also. So,
none in both.
Jinx. This was my thought as well. I thought exactly that until I watched them back to back. But the aesthetics of the Urban Dredd are so consistent all the way through the movie. They've created a world that is consistent all the way through the movie. The Stallone movie is not consistent. It's all over the place with the visuals. So I would actually say if you were to watch them again and think about that, I would say that the newer film actually wins for the aesthetics. And they're also comic accurate in some way, because if you look back and you see the different artists' approach to Mega City 1, it doesn't look the same from artist to artist. They continually build on the look as the artists build on the look. So to a lot of people, the definitive look for Mega City 1 is Carlos Esquira's one. But then you had Ron Smith, who was doing his version, which looked completely different. The same storyline, it looked completely different. Yeah.
Sure. Well, it's a strength to these flicks. If you look at like different creative teams.
Pete's going to do what He's going to have a marathon and watch them both again tomorrow.
God bless him. He's probably going to walk away saying Stat's an idiot too.
Yeah, and Pete Polt agrees with me. There you go, a wise person.
Well, of course, I'm on UK territory.
Jinx again. And say hello to Lucifer. He's joined us. Hey, Lucifer. What's Pete saying here? I wouldn't champion the Stallone flick, but agree that it had a great production, some cracking effects, and sounded great too. To be nice to Statto, I'm going to say that the Spanish Blu-ray, I'm going to buy that Spanish Blu-ray and rewatch it.
Very diplomatic.
Yeah. It's not much of an upgrade, that Blu-ray, though, I have to say. But then again, none of the Blu-rays are that great for Dredd, I don't think. They're kind of like upscaled DVDs.
Well, for the Stallone one?
Yeah.
Yeah, they put nothing into that at all.
Yeah, the actual, it's not been particularly well remastered or anything. So
it never will be.
It never will be. Well, again, it might well be because
no, they're ashamed of it. It's just kind of like dump it out because it's a Stallone movie.
if you could get a label like Arrow to convince people to come back and do interviews about the movie and put together
possible, like
put a documentary together and then put it out, and then people appreciate everything that went into the making of the movie and what people think about it. Like
who
30
put that
years
out?
later.
Do you
who
know?
Put out
the
first
Stallone one? Yeah,
it was Disney, wasn't it? Is that not
like Touchstone or
it's Touchstone, wasn't it?
Can't remember who it was, but if it's Disney, like I kind of wonder if they wouldn't even allow Shout Factory to do something like that, or
they probably wouldn't. Yeah, they probably wouldn't.
Because that's the only chance you got.
I think it was Touchstone because it was because their DVDs were crap as well.
Right. Well, they did Roger Rabbit really nice when they brought that back.
Googling Touchstone Dredd, see if it was, and of course nothing comes up, but I think it was. I might be wrong, but I think it was.
I could solve this mystery, however, but yeah, I don't know that this one. I mean, I don't think it sold particularly great on DVD, Blu-ray, or whatever, and it did not make any money in the theater. So it's just one of those like forever relegated to bargain bin, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, I get a vibe because it's kind of like the releases of The Rocketeer, which is a far superior movie.
Right, that's never going to see. It made no money once again.
Yeah, because it didn't make them lots of money, so they treat it as a bad movie, and it never gets the release it deserves.
Oh yeah, the anniversary one they had just a few years ago just had like a trailer on it, and that's it. It was just we brought it to Blu-ray, and there's a trailer. That's it.
They put it in a soft touch slipcase or something. I think that's enough.
Oh, it was Hollywood Pictures.
Hollywood Pictures, right? Oh, okay, yeah, they were like Touchstone, just as bad.
Yeah, they were the other Touchstone.
Yeah, bare bones, badly mastered videos and DVDs.
Definitely.
Yeah.
There you go. Are they still? They're not even still around, are they?
I don't think so. No. Google it. Find out. I'll say no. I definitively believe they're not.
Parent organization, Walt Disney. What do you know?
Ah, there you go. Oh,
so that explains why it was like Touchstone.
Yeah. So I was right. It was Disney, but it wasn't Touchstone.
Yep.
I wonder what the difference was then.
Touchstone did like they did sort of artsy, not artsy, but I mean like kind of artier type stuff. Family.
So what was the label that did things like Splash and Down and Out in Beverly Hills?
That
was Disney. They were there. We're off on a tangent here, guys.
Hollywood Pictures was incorporated point of business with Touchstone aligned with Hollywood, so they were aligned. The two divisions.
Yeah, I think Touchstone
marketing and distribution. So yeah,
that was Disney's way of putting out movies that weren't just for kids. I think that's what that was, wasn't it?
Yeah. But it wasn't. I mean, it was like Arachnophobia was the first release.
That was all right though. That was good.
Right. They did stuff with like Jerry Bruckheimer. Super Mario Bros. Came out through Hollywood. Of course, it did. Hand Rocks the Cradle. It had some.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. That I think Touchstone was like the first releases were Splash and Down and Out in Beverly Hills. They made lots of movies with Bette Midler and Nick Nolte and
then they went and got Dimension for horror for a while. Like that was Weinstein, I think. Dimension was.
Yeah, that was Weinstein. Yeah, they were terrible. The way we know he was terrible, but the way that they treated filmmakers and films.
He was a micromanager for sure.
Shocking.
Oh, they put Tombstone out. Encino Man.
You see, there's always one or two good ones.
Low Down Dirty Shame. Wow. Crimson Tide, Dangerous Minds.
Coming soon, ranking of Hollywood Pictures and Touchstone on
The Rock. They put The Rock out. Come on.
What Michael Bay's only good movie? Cool.
Deep Rising.
Well, that's the one. Is that Treat Williams?
Yep. On the boat.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
That was good fun. That.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Was that the Mummy guy that made that?
Paris. That's for beating people. Now they know who to blame. Hollywood Pictures.
Hollywood Pictures. Yeah, it started and it ended there.
Medicine Man with Sean Connery.
Oh, Medicine Man with Sean Connery. Oh, that was what's his face, wasn't it? The guy that made Hunt for Red October and Predator. Yeah. This Mad Squirrel's beginning to go to my head.
John McTiernan.
I'm a wee bit tipsy now, so.
Interesting. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've decided
Deep Rising got a splash or a updated release with the art cover and stuff, I think.
Did it? But no extras?
Not really. Maybe. No, they added some extras. I saw the Blu-ray on Amazon somewhere. I think it's a slip cover, extra cover, but I mean, still, it's a nice little art piece kind of thing.
It is. Deep Rising is awesome fun, says People Circus, and I agree, it is awesome fun.
It's a heck of a upgrade on like a 50s B movie or 60s B movie, like kind of thing.
It's great stuff. I need to watch that again.
Oh yeah,
so many movies I'm going back to watch because a lot of the modern ones aren't really doing it for me. You know.
No, I hardly watch modern ones anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
that's why that episode of ours was so terrible with the best.
What was that? The bit? Oh yeah, but it wasn't a particularly good year.
We were trying so hard to figure something out.
Yeah. Again, having a lockdown and having to pick the best over the year, it was tough to do. I
suppose we got some decent. I mean, most people didn't even know what the nominees for the Oscars were this year. The one that won Best Picture was like something from Netflix.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it was. I enjoyed Mank. I enjoyed that one. So I know a lot of people don't.
Okay.
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I don't mind if my Hollywood movies that deal with real life aren't authentic. You know, I don't mind if they take liberties. I quite enjoy it sometimes. So I enjoyed that. Yeah. But I think tonight we've kind of come to the conclusion that there are reasons to watch the Stallone version. But yeah, Dredd's a better Dredd, I would say.
More accurate, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not back next week, are we? I'm going to share screen just to show you guys what we're up to. If it'll let me.
Well, thanks, Pete. I'm respected around here.
Utmost respect for a little feathered friend. A great job defending that film. You did indeed.
But you should see the other guy.
I'd have been a lot nicer about it if I hadn't just watched it this afternoon, I think.
Sure.
Oh man, you look rough. Brilliant.
I still feel I got a few lucky punches in.
Yeah. So before I tell you what we're doing next, could you, if you're new here, could you please do me the favour of subscribing to the channel?
Yes.
And hitting that wee thumbs up, if you don't mind, because I've been told it helps with the algorithm, and I've always had trouble with the algorithms, so it'd be good if you give me some help with them, whatever they are. No idea. And terrierscomics.com. It's my website that's just up. It's going to become a major sort of like hub for everything to do with the comics and the media that I'm going to be making. So subscribe to the newsletter there. It's down here. It's subscribe and join Team Dark. And you will not miss out on anything that I'm going to be doing in the future to do with the Tatty Bogleman, Ailsa Dark, and whatever else I've got planned. So this is going to be my main hub for everything going forward. So you'll find both of these campaigns that I'm working on right now. You'll find them all here on this page here. So please give that a look. Brilliant. Thanks, Pete. And sign up for the newsletter because I'm going to have a bit of fun doing a wee newsletter for that at some point. So where am I? Oh, hang on a minute. There we go. Oh, look, it's us. We're not going to watch ourselves. Like we've done this in the past, and then we just get hypnotized by watching ourselves go into the future and into the past and whatever. We're not doing that. I'm on here just to say, if you do subscribe to the channel, and why wouldn't you? The next episode that we're going to be doing is not Wullie and Statto at the movies. Although knowing me, I might run that intro. I'm known to do that. It's going to be another Dredd special, and it's Comic Book Gold, and it's on May the 6th. And we're going to be doing a little review of the Batman Dredd comics, all of them. Yeah, so there'll be a lot of Simon Bisley there, and we're going to be reading them, and we're going to be going through. Look at that! There's a wee thumbs up. This is what you do, guys. You just go click like that. The thumbs up's fantastic. So that's going to be next up. I might do a stream next Tuesday night for the Team Dark. I've not been doing them as often right now because I'm so busy because I'm drawing loads of comics, and that's the main thing that I'm doing. So you guys are going to be getting these comics if you back the campaigns. So I need to draw them.
Pete, what I do to make you hate me?
What's he saying?
What do you think he's saying?
He's being sarcastic, surely. He's trolling you. Yes, there is. You can find on here the Turkish Dracula. The episode. Oh, it's amazing. The episode where we watched the Turkish Dracula. Fun enough, if I do have a character called the Tatty Bogleman, I just write stories. He is actually a real thing, and he forces me to do it. But he's also got a YouTube page. There's nothing much on it yet, and there won't be until next year, funnily enough. But you know what? He said to me, Wullie, get a YouTube page up for me, and I'm not going to argue with the Tatty Bogleman. But there's going to be some stuff going up on here, and it's going to be in the new year. I'm thinking that far ahead. Mm-hmm. It's going to be completely different to what I do on this channel. So you might want to sub to it as well. Like I say, it's not going to hassle you with lots of things right now, but it's going to be something else early next year to do with some stuff that I'm working on. Mm. So yeah, but right now, yeah, get signed up to the newsletter. There you go. Turkish Dracula, by the way, it's pretty bad. But if you are going to watch Turkish Dracula, the best way to do it is with me and Statto on the channel. So if you find our version of it, you can see the whole movie, and you'll get our commentary plus the commentary of the chat. And you'll be introduced to the first time where I'm thrown out of my own stream. This is a regular occurrence because my iMac every now and then crashes and throws me out of my own stream. And Pierre Statto or Lucifer Storm have to fill in with jokes, dance routines, and musical interludes.
Rooting on the Reds.
Doesn't the Tattoo Mogman breed haggis for their pelts? Yes, he does, and he eats them raw while they're still alive. They're easy to eat though because one leg is longer than the other because they run around mountains, but they'll never go in one direction. A haggis, so they have one leg that's longer than the other. That's the one you hold on to when you're eating a haggis. There you go. Little known fact. We only know that in Scotland. Right, that was fun. Hope you had fun with that, Statto. I did.
Oh yeah.
I'm just going to say thanks to all you guys for watching. Everybody in the chat. Because you make it worthwhile turning up and having this wee chat. We do it ourselves anyway, even if nobody was watching. We'd be
boring if it were just me.
Just Dredd, but we'd still have a good time chatting with each other. But you guys, you elevate it. It's great when you turn up, and we'll see you all in a couple of weeks. And yeah, we're having a wee Dredd run. And then after that, I think we're going to be having a wee Aliens run.
Yep, I'm going to be focusing on those alien movies.
And after the wee Aliens run, we're going to be having a wee Joker run, and be looking at a lot of Joker stuff for Batman.
That's true.
Yeah, that's all ahead of you. So please subscribe, guys. And that's us. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.